Hi, I'm Tim Scheib, husband of one, father of five, realtor, and this is Behind the Sign. Today's topic, well, actually I'm going to talk about two different things. So I have two topics for you today. The number one being Zillow, and another one would be new construction home listings. Zillow is the big real estate animal out there, and we all know that. Zillow dominates the market, dominates the internet. It's the easiest place to search and find homes. So we as real estate agents know that Zillow is where all the consumers go. So we invest in Zillow, and I'll get to that here in a little bit. But Zillow has become kind of an addictive platform for real estate for the consumers. I have people all the time call me that they're not even looking for a home. They just bought a home and they send me a listing and say, hey, what about this one? Or did you see this one? So people are on Zillow all the time. It has just become it's not a social media app. I mean, you got Twitter, people are addicted to Twitter, people are addicted to Facebook and Instagram, and I'm just going to have to throw Zillow in there as the next one. So people are on it to the point where Saturday Night Live even did a comedy skit about Zillow. It was a little provocative and a little edgy, but that's what SNL is. But the whole idea behind it was people have now gone from being addicted to certain things to, oh my gosh, Zillow is what I'm going to get on at night when I have nothing else to do. And it's the truth. And we see that as real estate agents. So we've invested a ton of money in Zillow for a long, long time. And the reason we have done that, as a marketer, you have to market where the eyeballs are, where the consumers are. And so that's what we've done. We've continued to spend a lot of money on Zillow. And I'm going to talk a little bit about why I have dialed back on that. But mainly want to educate you about Zillow, how to use Zillow, and what to be careful of with Zillow. So Zillow has a concierge program. So that used to be, we pay money and we get put on listings. Whether it's our listings or anybody else's listings, we're just put on listings. And it's kind of a percentage of times you show up on a listing is how you purchase the advertising with Zillow. So there's always 4 agents on the side of a listing, and if you buy 25% of a certain zip code inside of that zip code on a house, you are going to be one of the 4 agents 25% of the time. There's always a listing agent, then there's 3 other agents. So with that being said, oftentimes a buyer that says I want more information will click on that, and then they would get pushed over to one of those 3 agents that's not the listing agent. So you're on the phone trying to figure out information about a house with someone that Zillow connected you with. We don't know anything about that house, but we're going to find out for you, and we're going to try and capture you as a buyer. So if you've ever called anybody or clicked I want more information on Zillow and just had a confused interaction, that's why. Well, now in today's world, they have what they call a concierge, and that concierge person is the person that connects that buyer that wants more information to the real estate agent. And that can be extremely confusing, because what happens is you click on it, all of a sudden, a lot of times people don't even mean to, they're getting phone calls from Zillow and text messages until you answer, and then once you answer, they connect with a real estate agent, they ask that agent if we have time, and then they put us together in a conference call. And oftentimes the person so Zillow, in my concierge, it's always Alex, right? So, hi, this is Alex with the concierge. We have a client on the other end of the line. Do you have time? Okay. They click over, and that buyer consistently calls me Alex. Even though I said, hi, this is Tim Scheib with RE/MAX, they consistently call me Alex because they're confused. It's a really confusing process. But we know that people are consistently clicking on those links, so we spend money. And so we always have to have this conversation. I spend the majority of my time with calls from the Zillow concierge talking to people who have no idea what's going on because they can't remember what house they clicked on. They can't remember who they're talking to, me or Alex or whatever. They don't even know that I'm a real estate agent in their area. So with that being said, we as real estate agents, not being the listing agent, we as a real estate agent, if we go show another listing to somebody, like, we don't make money unless we write up the contract. And one of the first questions I get out there to a lead from Zillow is, do you have a real estate agent that you're working with? If so, I ask for their name. And then I politely will tell them to get a hold of their agent because they're the ones who need to show them the house. But in today's world, I keep saying in today's world because a lot of things have changed in the last 5 years. But in today's world, people just want to see the house. They don't care. So I would say 90 to 95% of the time I get a lead from Zillow, they already have a real estate agent. So I spend the majority of my time educating them, the buyer, how Zillow works, why they got me, and why they need to call their agent back. Because the last thing I want to do, and a lot of younger agents will make this mistake, they'll get a call, they'll get a lead, and excited, right? You're excited, we got a buyer, we're gonna go show you this house. So they go and they meet this person at the house that's not their listing, and the person really likes it. And she's like, oh great, you want to write up an offer? Well, we'll call our agent. And you're like, whoa, what? So now you just left your family, you went out and showed a house on a Friday night when you're supposed to be at a party, but obviously you need to feed the family, so you go show this house, then you find out at the end that they have an agent and they're gonna work with their neighbor who's a realtor. Now, the agent that left their family and everything, showed the house, will make $0. Absolutely no money on that deal. And for us real estate agents, that's really difficult. It hurts. Like you're like, what? And there's people today that will, you'll ask them the question, do you have a real estate agent? Nope. Yeah, we're kind of thinking about one, but no, we don't. Well, when they lie to us, they don't understand we don't make any money. If we go show you a house and you have someone else who writes the offer up for you, we don't make any money. We're not the listing agent. Now, if you call on one of my personal listings, then I'll think twice about it because, hey, I want to represent my sellers, right? And I want to sell this house. So if their agent is out of town, which I hear all the time, oh, my agent's too busy. Well, my agent's out of town. I just want to see the house. Well, so if it's my listing, I'll go show it to them because there's a potential of them buying my listing, which will help my clients, which will also mean that I'm at least going to get paid on the selling side of it. Because there's two sides to every transaction. There's a buyer side and a seller side. That's in our market in the Midwest. I know Florida, sometimes they just have like buyer's agents and it's done differently. In Iowa, we have one listing. The listing company pays all the commission and that's split to both the buyer's agent and the selling agent. Just for clarification on that. So me, if it's my listing, I'm going to show it because I want to sell it. Now, as a buyer, you need to be careful because if you have an agent, but you have the listing agent show you the home, that listing agent now is going to know information on you. For example, I go show you the house. You're like, oh, I love this house. We make small talk. I can tell they're going to buy this house no matter what. Then I get an offer from their agent. Well, now who's in the driver's seat? We are. Because I know they're going to buy the house. So if they offer 10 grand less, I'm like, nope. We'll give you 1,000 off. And they come back at 9 grand off. Nope. I know they're going to buy the house because guess what? I was in the house with you. And if I represented you, that would be dual agency. Well, I'm not in a dual agency. I don't have to keep what you said quiet because you have your own agent. So now I have the inside game on what you're wanting to accomplish. So that's where you need to be really careful when you call on Zillow. And what I recommend, if you have an agent and you're one of those people that's like, well, my agent's just too busy or my agent's on vacation, I promise you, that agent does not want me showing you that house. That agent wants to pick out someone to help them to show that house. Because if they've shown you houses for 6 months, because sometimes it takes 6 months, they show you houses for 6 months, leaving their family, going out over gas money over and over and over again, and you go and use a different agent, that's all gone. And I can't tell you how bad that hurts us. Us real estate agents, like we all have, we're people too. And so when you meet with them, you talk to them, you develop a friendship, and then they buy a house from somebody else, it hurts a lot. And to avoid that, being the buyer and now understanding that, all agents have someone there to cover their business. And if they don't, they're going to try and find somebody. So for example, if I'm at a volleyball tournament with one of my girls and someone wants to see a house and they need to look at it now because it might sell quick, I can have my wife show it to them. I have Madison, she's a buyer's agent, she can show it to them, and Danielle. So we have different people put in place. And if everybody's busy, I can call another agent, a friend of mine that's a realtor that can get them into the house and do me a favor. because I'll probably do a favor for one of them at some point. So we all have people to help. So clicking on that little thing on Zillow that says want more information is probably not a good idea, just because of the amount of confusion and the misleading things that can happen that can just cause problems. And I always tell my clients, when you buy a home, you want this to be a fun experience. We want to make it fun. And by doing that, and then having one person mad at you and, brokenhearted over here, and this person not knowing what's going on, it can turn into a stressful situation really, really quick. Especially with new construction. New construction is another one that, and I told you this is the second topic. So, Zillow is misleading to a certain extent. It can be very confusing. Another thing that's misleading about Zillow is they put things on there, pre-foreclosures, which are, and I'm guessing on this, so you can fact check me if you want, and if I learn something, that'd be great. But pre-foreclosures are banks sell lists of people who are behind on their mortgage, and that gets sold to Zillow, and Zillow marks those as pre-foreclosures, so they're not even for sale. And when you go to the house, they might still be living there. So it might turn very ugly very fast. So don't go peeking in windows on a pre-foreclosure, that's for sure. But they put those on there because they are extremely good deals. Like that same house listed on the market might be $100,000 more or $50,000 more. So when they see it that low on price, people want to know immediately, right? And that is another misleading thing. It's a pre-foreclosure. That house is not for sale, and when it forecloses with a bank, banks typically always list with a real estate agent for legality purposes. So you just kind of have to wait for it to come on the market. And we also know that a house that's almost in foreclosure can be saved. Someone can make an arrangement with a bank and keep that house. So it may never even be for sale. But what it does is it gets people to click on it. And the more clicks Zillow gets on these listings, the more money they get from us for advertising, because they can say, well, in this zip code, we have 30,000 impressions a month. Well, then we have to pay more money than one that has 10,000 impressions. So the same with new construction. New construction has listings all across the board. They have, especially in today's market where we have low inventory, we see listings all across the board, and they have really small print saying similar to on the photos, which means that that house probably isn't built. So in our market, we have a bunch of listings of houses that aren't built, and that can also be very confusing. I have clients send me houses. What about this house? What about this house? What about this house? I'm like, well, that one's not built yet. That one's not built yet. That one's not available. And we need to be very aware of that as real estate agents, because when someone calls us, we need to know what stage that house is in. So why would we list homes? We call them proposed listings or similar to. Why would we do that? Well, when we're in a market with very low inventory, these builders, they have to catch eyeballs. They have to get people to call them so they can build them homes. So we're in a market with low inventory, and the builders have low inventory out there. They mark these proposed listings. That way they can potentially build them a custom home. Now, flip side, if we're in a market with bunch of listings, high inventory, that builder, they may not list their homes until they're closer to that trim stage. And the reason for that is it's not in a builder's advantage to say we have 30 homes that are complete, because a buyer is going to go, well, you got a bunch of other homes, we know you need to sell it, we're going to lowball you. So if the builder waits until it's in the trim stage, then their inventory is lower, the house is done and ready to go, it shows less days on the market. So it's to a builder's advantage if they can hold off on listing it until later when there's a lot of inventory. So going off the internet and Zillow and trying to look at new homes, trying to look at foreclosures, pre-foreclosures, all the information on Zillow is there not to help you buy a home. They might tell you that, and that could be the ultimate goal that they market, but the ultimate goal for them is to make money, like anything else. And the more times they can get you to click on stuff, which means houses that may not even be for sale, houses that are the pre-foreclosures, the more homes that they can have on there that can get clicks, the more they can charge their client, I guess their actual clients, which is the real estate agents, the professionals. Real estate agents, they have ads, you can see them. There's ads everywhere, but the main people are real estate agents and mortgage brokers and insurance people. Anybody who has a professional hand in a real estate transaction. So it is very important to have an agent that works for you, and I can't stress that enough. I tell my clients, I want to be the one agent for all of your questions, and trust me, we want to answer all your questions. So picking that one agent out, if you have that one agent and you ask them 30 questions, do you think they know them? Absolutely. As a real estate agent, I know my clients. I know what they're looking for, to the point where I can even say, I know you're not going to like that house. Now, sometimes I still show it to them, but we know our clients that well, because after they ask so many questions and send us so many houses, we start to see their patterns. So it's in your best interest to have one agent that knows you inside and out, everything you're looking for real estate wise. That way you don't have to click on the I want more information. You could just send a text to your agent and say, hey, does this house have a fenced in yard? Or, hey, has this house been updated? That's the way to do it. So I guess at the end of the day, Zillow is the best search app, but don't click on the want more information. Just call your agent or text your agent or email your agent and ask for that information. So hope you learned something, and that's all I got for today.